Today, I want to talk about Ogerpon because I feel like it's not performing as well as it should be. Obviously, it did super well in Regulation G. Obviously, it wasn't legal for Regulation H, but I want to talk about it in Regulation F. See if it's actually good, if it's worth living up all the hype, so let's get into it. So first is Grass Ogerpon. Now, a lot of the Grass Ogerpons are running something like Ivy Cudgel, Stomping Tantrum, Follow Me, Spiky Shield. This is what a lot of them are running right now. This is the one that can actually hold an item. I know a lot of them run Cobra Cloak, but I'm sure you could run something like Life over Clear Amulet. Actually, you definitely would not want to run Clear Amulet because that's Defiant. So you probably would want to run Cobra Cloak is the most common. It has the ability to raise its speed stat when it terras. Grass Ogerpon, very strong. It's probably the least popular of all the Ogerpon forms. It's more so used on unconventional teams because the tools that it provides are just not as consistent and they're not as splashable. Like, sure, it has follow me support, but pure grass is a lot worse of a defensive typing than something like grass rock, or grass water. So most of the time you're going, like, if you want to use redirection, you're going to be using one of these two, or if you want damage, you're going to be using this one. So this one's good for versatility, but typically it's the least popular one. So Ogerpon Water usually runs something like this. The idea with Ogerpon Water is that you have obviously the water type, which is nice. Ivy Cudgel can hit things like Incineroar, can hit things like Landorus. You don't have the Defiant, so you're kind of a little bit weaker to Intimidate. You don't really like being intimidated all that much. But a lot of them run something like, I'm pretty sure it's this to outspeed Lando. I think a lot of them probably run something like this. I don't know if this is what they, maybe it's not what they run. Maybe it's like this. Some like one of these spreads are what a lot of them run because you want to be outspeeding those Landorus. Then you can just kind of put the rest in either bulk or attack depending on what you need. This is a common Ogerpon spread. This is doing good damage. It has good speed. It has the ability to Terra and get the special defense boost, which is nice. So yeah, Ogerpon Water, probably the best one, I would say. Arguably the best one in Reg F. Well, it's used on a lot of Gouging Fire teams, and it's good just on balance teams to counter Landorus. This is a very consistent Pokemon that is just good. So Ogerpon Fire is typically used like this. It has Wood Hammer or Grassy Glide, and then Swords Dance, and then Spiky. So the idea with Ogerpon Hearthflame is that you Terra and get the attack boost, but you have this Swords Dance. It's good on like the Raging Bolt balance teams, so what a lot of people are using it on right now. It gives you a second setup option that doesn't also like require the setup. Raging Bolt with Calm Mind doesn't really do that much damage outside of setup, so you really want to get that setup. Like, you really want to get that piece set up. But as for this, you can Terra and just start nuking stuff with Ivy Cudgel even without this setup. But this is like a very, very good option. Like, this is Ivy Cudgel, Wood Hammer, Sword Stance. Like, this is just a very consistent piece that allows you to set up quickly, and also doesn't rely on the setup too hard to be something that you have to like go for every single game. So overall, Ogerpon Fire, Ogerpon Water are probably the two best in this format. Now we're gonna talk about Ogerpon Rock. Now Ogerpon Rock probably has like the worst Terra boost, because yeah, it's rock type, it gets a boosted defense. Great, you're getting killed by Surging Strikes anyways. You have Sturdy. Most of the time you don't want to be tearing your Ogerpon Rock unless it's for damage on the Rock Ivy Cudgel. But like, obviously this spread is very simple. You just go Jolly, 252, 252, and then put the 4 in defense is what a lot of people do, because you have that Sturdy. It acts as a focus sash. Like, you don't really need to be putting things in unless you want to survive like Surging Strikes rolls or something, but most of the time this is what people are going to be using. Ogerpon Rock is probably the worst, arguably the worst one in this format, even though it was arguably the best one in Reg G, just because it just doesn't hit enough things. Like, yeah, you're hitting the Torns, but you're getting killed by Urshifu, you're getting killed by Goldango, you're getting killed by Landorus. Like, you're getting absolutely annihilated by so many of these popular pieces, and you just don't have enough damage output in return to make it worth your while, especially when you could be using one of these two. The case where you'd want to use Ogerpon Rock over something like Water or Fire is just not existent in this format, unfortunately, which makes Ogerpon Rock just the weakest option of all of them. So now it's time for the question, is Ogerpon a fraud? I think so. I mean, obviously, in Reg G, Ogerpon Rock was kind of insane, and now it kind of sucks. These two were not, like, Fire was okay, Water was really not good at all, and then Grass was also not really great at all, so I think that it is a fraud. Ogerpon is a fraud, I would say. Because, yeah, it's good, but it can be really good if used on the right team. But I think, on the whole, it's not as good as it was. It's not, like... It's really good, but it's not as good as it was. Like, I think it fell, like, from S tier to A tier. So I guess if you consider A tier, like, I guess it's up to interpretation, actually. Because I would say it's, like, worse than it was in previous formats, but it's also still pretty good. So I guess it's up to interpretation. I would say... yes, it is a fraud, because Intimidate is so prominent, like, especially if you're using either of these two forms, you're just getting like, actually any of these forms except for Grasp, which no one uses, you're kind of weak to Intimidate. Plus, the Mungus are running Sludge Bomb in this format, and like the power level as a whole is a lot higher. Like Urshifu's U-turn, obviously, which can hit these two for. Does bug resist? I don't know if rock resist bug, but you're hitting the Graspons for super effective. You can Surging Strikes or Close Combat this to do a lot of damage. This you can Surging Strikes. Like Water Ursh literally just messes up all of these. Plus, like there's a lot of Torn Ursh going around. There's a lot of Raging Bolt, which these two can't hit at all. Which makes it makes it a little bit more difficult for Ogerpon to succeed. I think overall the defensive options in this format don't allow Ogerpon to fulfill its offensive capabilities as well, which is why it has Swords Dance on this, and then this one is more so used as a defensive set with Horn Leech. But yeah, I think Ogerpon is good, but it's also kind of a fraud. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.